Previously on Life as Amber Knows It.
I might have to roll them up and chuck them in sometimes, but I can fit into the bathtub and there's extra room. So it's not a desirable taste, but after taking it for a few days, I do notice a difference in my energy level. I felt that bubbling sensation in my stomach and I was like, no. Oh, da, 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 da. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I thought I would sit down and discuss what it takes to get approved for weight loss surgery. Now this is going to vary depending on the doctor you go with, the country you go with, the state you go with. Like, I'm just gonna talk about my personal experience because that's all I can speak to, because I went through it. If you're thinking about weight loss surgery and you're not sure what the process entails, I can give you a general idea of what I had to do. Hold on, let me adjust my hydraulics. There we go. I think most insurance companies have a similar process, but if you go to Mexico, I think it's a lot more lenient. I didn't go to Mexico, I went in California. So first step is, to qualify, you gotta be overweight. So if you got that one, check it off your list. No, but more specifically, your BMI has to be over 30. My starting BMI was 49.1, so I definitely was overqualified. Anyway, so after that, you have to kind of make the decision. After you've made the decision to go forth with this and really committed, and I say made the decision because I made the decision and I was like, but do I really want to do this? Like, this is literally gonna, like, my stomach and drinking and eating and everything's going to be different. And I made the decision to go forth with it after like gaining knowledge and doing research and all the things that I could do to make myself feel better about the process. I decided it was the best move for me, my health, my body, my situation. So I said, let's do it. And when I said, let's do it, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, I said, let's do it, so they'll get me in a month. Nah, it takes a little longer than that, especially in a pandemic. Initially, you have an intake appointment, and in that appointment, I'm looking down at my notes. So in that intake appointment, they'll kind of ask you what type of surgery you were thinking about. Like, is it gastric sleeve or is it gastric bypass? And they kind of explain which the difference between each one is. But going into that appointment, I already knew which one I wanted, which was the sleeve. And I'd already done my research on both options. So it's not like I was learning anything new, but I mean, I just recommend doing your own research. Don't always trust what the doctors say. Like, in that intake appointment, the doctor decided, yeah, he thinks that the gastric sleeve would be the best bet for me too. And I don't know exactly why he thought the sleeve would be the best for me, but I chose it because I felt like it was less invasive than the gastric bypass, where they like take your intestines and reroute them and stuff like that. Oh God, I had to take a break so my battery could charge, so we can get this done. At the intake appointment, they will also tell you about all the steps that you need to take in order to get to your surgery date. So that's going to vary depending on where you go, like I said earlier. Also, they will have you do a medically managed weight loss program. Weekly, I would meet with the nutritionist and I would discuss what type of physical exercise I did. They would give you like a worksheet and you have to fill out the answers. I had to email that to my nutritionist because we had to do nutrition classes, but we were in a pandemic, so we couldn't do anything in person. Before the pandemic, you would physically go to a class and sit there for, I think, an hour every week and like discuss different topics. Now those topics change, like, depending on what the topic of the week is, but each week we would discuss something different about like basically our journey to health and what it's going to take to maintain our weight loss, and then kind of just dealing with our physical, our mental aspects as well, which I'll get into a little bit later. So we have to do that every month for 6 months. That's right, 6 whole months. You have to meet with your nutritionist. We had a couple phone calls, but mostly it was online, like us emailing her our assignments complete and then asking her any questions if we had any. We also had to do, I'm saying we because I wasn't the only one that did it, and I don't know. I guess I had to do fasted blood work, and they ran a whole like detailed panel of everything. I don't know the specifics of that, but that's part of the process as well. I had to do a chest x-ray. I had to do an EKG and endoscopy. Is it endoscopy? I don't know. For that one, I had to be under, I think, a local anesthesia that they could stick a tube down my throat to see, to make sure, I don't know. I forgot what it was that they look for, but I'll put it up over here what it was. It didn't hurt. It wasn't painful at all. It just, like, 1 minute I was awake and I was looking at something, and then they injected me with something, and then I was gone. And the next thing you know, I woke up and I was just feeling a little loopy. I had to make sure someone was transporting me to and from, because I would be a little loopy, but nothing hurt. Then I had to do a sleep study. So I had to go overnight to a location, put on the mask thing, which I did talk about in the previous video. So this is what I was looking like. Yeah, I was actually diagnosed with sleep apnea. So I had to wear a mask to sleep. I'm supposed to still be wearing it, but my goodness, it is so uncomfortable. The guy, when he taught me how to use the machine, he said that there's so many choices and I just gotta find the one that fits, that works for me. So I gotta go in and like rework the one that he gave me, because I'm not comfortable when I'm trying to sleep with the whole Darth Vader thing on. Sleep study told me I have sleep apnea. Then I had to go through and do a psychological evaluation. This part I was nervous about. I do struggle with depression, and I do struggle with emotionally eating. And that's something I've been working on with my therapist for the past, I don't know, a couple years. So I was nervous about that, because I was like, if I don't pass the psych eval, then I can't get this surgery, and then I'm kind of back to square one of trying to figure something else out. Any areas that were of a concern, they reached out to my therapist and had her like write something that says that we are working on those things in therapy, and then also demonstrating the progress that I have made thus far in those areas. Because I wasn't gonna lie, I was completely honest when they asked questions like, do you sometimes just rush while you're eating? And I was like, oh yeah, definitely, I rush. I'm a mom and I got stuff to do. But they're very big on like taking your time to eat and process, and you have to eat slowly after you have the surgery. You cannot eat fast. And they asked, do you eat mindfully or do you eat just like unmindfully? And I was just like, honestly, sometimes I eat unmindfully. If I'm bored or if I'm feeling depressed or anxious, yeah, I will eat. So that was kind of like one of their red flags. So that was something they had to reach out to my therapist and kind of discuss with her and make sure that I was not a flight risk going in for this surgery, making sure that my head was in the right place, and that it was something that we had been working on and that we will continue working on. What sense does it make to go through all this surgery if your head's not right? So that's why in my last video I recommended, is my last video? I think it was my 4-month update. I recommended that you go to therapy, because there's a lot of stuff to deal with. Like you didn't become overweight because everything is perfect in your life. It's a symptom of something much bigger. So it's your job if you want to figure that out or not, but I do recommend it, because you ain't gonna pass the psych evaluation if you're being honest. Completely honest, you're not gonna pass the psych eval. I ended up talking to my therapist talked to the people say, okay girl, you good, you're clear as far as that goes. As long as you continue working on these issues that you are expressing that you're having, you have a plan in place, you're good to go. I also had to do a nutritional evaluation with the dietitian. So she just kind of asked like what I eat on a daily basis, how many calories, how much water, like what am I doing right now to take care of myself, because after surgery it's not like, oh, I had surgery, I can do whatever I want now. No, it's like this is the beginning, but you still have a lot of work to do. It is a lot of work. It's a lot to maintain your vitamins, your water, your meals, your protein, making sure you're getting enough food and not too much food, and like it's a whole balancing thing. But I'd rather do this and be healthy than be the other way I was and still be like so unhealthy. So for me, this is all very worth it. And then the other thing was my nurse practitioner. He told me I had to lose 10 pounds before I could be officially approved for surgery. And if you have PCOS, you know how long it takes to lose 10 pounds. A good, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months sometimes. And you could be like eating right, working out, doing the most, and still the weight will not come off. So I freaked out because obviously if I could lose the weight, would I be trying to get weight loss surgery? No. So I tried to lose it like on my own, just doing my keto stuff. And I wasn't like, I was losing weight, but probably like a half a pound every few weeks. Like it wasn't substantial enough. I was not going to meet my goal. So I reached out to my nurse practitioner and I was like, hey, I'm having trouble. I'm doing my best. This is what I'm eating. These are my calories. I was tracking everything. And this is what I'm struggling. Like I'm still not losing the weight. And then he knew my history of PCOS. He knew my history of being on metformin and having blood sugar issues. So because I was on metformin before, I could skip past the metformin step and they could put me on this weight loss drug. At first I was like, I don't really want to do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But what have I got to lose except a bunch of weight? So I don't know if I want to call it a drug, but I went on the weight loss drug called Victoza. I don't know if it's marketed as a weight loss or if it's supposed to be marketed as a blood sugar thing. Either way, it fixed both of those issues for me immediately. Because I had been on metformin before, I didn't have to get further approval to jump to Victoza. I just was able to just get insurance approve it right away. They wouldn't approve that as like your first option, but they did approve it as the second option. Thank God. The Victoza, it's an injection that I had to give myself daily in my stomach area. And basically what it did was it balanced out my blood sugar and it helped me lose weight and it decreased my appetite. And that is how I lost about 20 pounds in about 2 months. Yeah, you heard me right. 20 pounds in 2 months. And that's with eating right, like exercising, all that stuff. It wasn't like I just took that and did whatever I wanted. Like I was still working towards my goals. I think the way it works is it slows your digestion or something like that, but it really helped with my appetite and balancing my blood sugar and ultimately helped me lose the weight that I needed to lose and then some, so I was approved to go through with surgery. And I think they want to see that you've lost some weight on your own so that they know that you're serious and you're not just coming in here for like a quick fix or a magic pill, and they just want to know that you really about that business. I had one last weigh-in before I had my surgery scheduled, and at that weigh-in they realized I had met my goal or surpassed my goal, so they're like, all right, we can schedule your surgery date, you good to go, ma'am. So I got my surgery date scheduled. I think a week before my actual surgery date, I met with my surgeon and he just answered any final questions I had, any concerns, kind of went through the whole process of what was going to be what, and then that was that. I went forward and I got my surgery. My surgery was set to be done in June or July, but because of the pandemic, everything got pushed back, so I didn't get my surgery until August 30th. And so far it's been one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life, and I just wish I could have done it sooner. My quality of life has improved tremendously and I'm so grateful. It is still a lot of hard work, but it's a different type of hard. So I can choose the hard of not being able to breathe or having trouble getting up from the floor, or choose the hard of, did I have enough protein today? Did I have enough water? Have I moved my body in some way today? It's so different and I'm so grateful, and I'm glad that I made this decision for me. Like, not for anyone else, just for me. I hope this answers any questions if you're thinking about surgery. I know like it might be different depending on the region or your insurance company. So what I gave is kind of like a general thing. At least that's what I had to go through, all of those steps to get approved for my weight loss surgery. But if you have any more questions, feel free to drop them down below. I will answer them as soon as I possibly can. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching and take care. Peace.
It's not over yet. we've only just begun. Not much time is left. Gotta get to 51. Let's go. I know we'll have some fun.